Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome to Blood Bowl 2. Blood Bowl is one of my favorite strategy games, and when we get into this in a second, you're going to think maybe that's a little strange, because it's pretty different from a lot of the other stuff I've played on this channel. But there's a lot going on here that I think is worth noting, and a big part of what makes Blood Bowl special, although a game of Blood Bowl is cool, a big part of what makes Blood Bowl special is the persistent development mechanics, the way your team and players change over time, take injuries that have permanent effects, gain new abilities, experience stat changes. So the way I'm going to showcase Blood Bowl to you guys, and listen, if you've never played Blood Bowl before, you don't know anything about it, don't worry, you will be able to follow along. I'm going to explain what's going on. The way I've chosen to showcase it to you here is we're going to play in a tournament. So we're playing in a 5-round round robin with the 6, us and the 5 other teams in our little division here. And then the top 2 teams from that, hopefully including us, fingers crossed, will move up into a knockout single elimination match, single elimination bracket for a big fake trophy in this video game, because, it turns out no real trophies. So this is what we're going to be doing. We're playing today as the Blunderworld Bludgeoners. This is one of my favorite team types. There's a whole bunch of different sort of factions and races in Blood Bowl. We're going to be playing as the Underworld Denizens. I think they used to just be called Underworld, maybe in the tabletop game. And basically, it's a team made up of Skaven and Goblins and this guy. It has some pretty weird stuff going on, and it's definitely not a top-tier team. I say they're my favorite. I definitely don't think they're the best. There are some fun, good teams that we could be playing as, too. But I want to show these guys off because I think this is a team that really benefits from the persistent development stuff of the game. So, in short, what we have going on here is we have a great big troll. He is the Blunder Blanatic is our team mascot, really. He just sits in the middle of the field, growls at people, might occasionally throw a punch. We have a couple of Skaven Blitzers. These are good fighting units. If you've never seen Blood Bowl before, it's kind of like American football. Maybe a little bit like rugby, but it is incredibly violent. And don't worry, if you're not into violence and gore and stuff, it's not graphic. But there's going to be some punching. There's going to be a lot of punching. So here's one of our punchers, Piercer, so named, I imagine, because of that mask, or maybe because of whatever the heck is going on with his nose that is the reason he has to wear that mask. Dig, our other totally identical blitzer. We have a couple of paired positions on the team. We also have a pair of throwers. I don't want it, and you take it. They volunteered, of course, to be the player on the team who professionally gets rid of the ball before the enemy players get anywhere near. They maybe would not have done that if they had realized that we were going to implant a massive cannon into their arms. But I guess the moral of this story, life advice from me to you, always read contracts before you sign them. And then the team is rounded out by a couple of other Skaven guys, Jonathan T. Ratman and Spookums, of course. Their job is just to be punched, basically. Somebody's got to get in the way while we're trying to play football over here. And finally, a whole lot of goblins. So the deal with the goblins is that they're fast, they're slippery, they're small, hard to kill. This is their primary benefit. They're fast and they're hard to kill. That said, some of them will be dying. But it's going to be okay, because it turns out life is cheap, and goblin life even cheaper. We're playing today against the Norse team, the Tipsy Giants. Here's a quick look at what those guys look like. This is a bad matchup. These guys are going to do some horrible violence upon us. Listen, we don't have to win every game. We just have to come out top 2 in the division. We could be second to them. That would be all right. So let's just get right into it. So their team is slightly higher rated than ours, and so we've got a little bit of money to play with to buy inducements, which are things temporary boosts you can get for your team that give you a little bit of an edge, allow you to sort of catch up to teams that are better than you. Unfortunately, they're only a very small amount better than us, and we can't afford anything cool, so we're just gonna skip this phase. The team rating system, I think, is pretty good at making interesting games, even between very mismatched teams, and hopefully we'll get to see some of that over the course of this. So like I said, 6 teams in our division. It's a round robin. That means there'll be 1 game every day this week. And if we should do reasonably well, then, the big event will start next week. So we're playing at their stadium, the Underlair. Seems strange. You'll notice they're all very large and muscular, burly looking. Some of them burlier than others. But what they are not is, well, dressed, but also armored. So the Norse team is a great punching team, not so good at taking a punch. Oh, and they've hired a star player. They brought in a ringer. That could be bad. Whatever, we'll be fine. Here's us, of course. Very impressive group of tiny men. Listen, there's a lot of spikes. I put a lot of spikes on our armor. I thought that would maybe be discouraging to the other players. Let's see if it worked. Alright, come on, let me go first. I won the flip. Awesome. We are going to receive. I know that there are some Blood Bowl coaches who swear you should defend on your first drive. Here's the thing. Receiving player gets first turn, and I think the first punch really sets a tone for the whole game. You can demoralize an enemy team, like, right away. Oh, this is not going to work. Hold on, let me fix the camera here. Just play with some of these. There we go. This is the lineup I want. So, you can see it's a turn-based strategy game. It's played on a field made up of squares. Your units have some stats, movement and strength and agility and armor value. And all of these things do something. I'll talk about what they do as we get to it. Let's take a quick look at this star player, though. Boomer. He appears to be a goblin with a pretty neat hat and also a lot of bombs. Like a huge amount of bombs. So he's hard to knock out. He has a secret weapon. You are not allowed to bring bombs onto the field. That said, the ref's not going to wade into the violence and try to escort him out. So he'll be ejected from the game at the end of the play. He may throw bombs at us. There's a lot of rules here. We don't need to read those. The important thing to know is that he's good at throwing bombs, and that we have to be careful, especially since our players are not particularly tough. Alright, well, we are about to receive. I'm going to take our 2 throwers, set them kind of in the backfield. Troll's going to stand front and center. If the troll can get a punch in on this guy, I'm not sure why they put him right up on the line. I have not played with the AI a tremendous amount. Mostly I play against people. It may be that the AI is bad. It was certainly not great in the first game. Alright. We're going to keep our Skaven lineman up front to provide some assistance to our troll. Listen, he's a great guy, really big arms, knows how to throw a punch, but he is just phenomenally stupid. And he needs teammates nearby to help him sort of keep track of what's going on in the game. I don't know. This might not. This first round might go really poorly. And I'm going to keep some other goblins up close for assists. And we'll explain what that means a little bit more clearly in a moment. Alright, I'm good. I'm good. Kick it. Alright, every time there's a kickoff, a random event happens. A high kick. Any player of ours who's not in a tackle zone may be moved into the square under the ball. Yes, they've kicked it really high and we have some time to react to that. Ooh, wow. I'm going to choose not to place any of our players under the ball, because there's a pretty good chance that this will land in our end zone and then bounce out. And I think the odds of that happening are worth giving up the chance to catch the ball as it's coming down. Okay. So almost everything in Blood Bowl has a die roll associated with it. And this is the core mechanic of the game is you get to take one action with each of your players, either move or throw a block, punch another player. But the moment you go for a roll and fail it, your turn immediately ends. So we have to figure out what is most important. And for me, for my money, what's most important right now is throwing some punches. Let's try to crush this guy. So you can see he has 3 strength. Our Warpstone Troll has 5 strength. So we are going to get to throw extra dice. If you have more strength than the enemy player, you get to throw 2 dice and pick the result. Yep, punch him. He's going to have to pass a really stupid roll, but his teammates are here to help him interpret our orders. And that is a good result. The defender stumbles. Let's crush him. Okay, good start. Let's flatten a guy. Okay, now this lineman here has 3 strength, and our Skaven lineman has 3 strength. But we're going to get to throw 2 dice against this guy, because adjacent players can add a point of strength to the conflict. You can see we're getting +1 strength from our assist here. So even players who are not really good at fighting can still lend something to the fight just by being nearby. Let's smash this guy up. We're gonna follow him up. There you go. That's Blood Bowl right off the bat. He is badly hurt, so he's out of the game. Into the casualty box with you. Most players or most teams will bring an additional player or two, more than necessary to compensate for that, because that kind of thing's going to happen quite a bit. All right, we're getting a lot of good rolls so far. Listen, there's a lot of variance in this game, but it works out because there's a lot of variance in this game, and I know that may sound kind of dumb, but hopefully you'll come to see what I mean. You end up throwing so many dice, there are so many dice rolling events in a game of Blood Bowl, that it actually, you tend to see the bell curve of the probability pretty clearly. Okay, we're going to try something a little bit more complicated here, because this poor fool has been left adjacent to the sidelines by his coach, who doesn't seem to care about his well-being at all. So I'm going to run a goblin up to provide an assist on the block we're about to throw. I'm also going to run a goblin right here. And then we're going to use our blitz. Once per turn, you're allowed to have one player move and block. Is this a good idea? Yeah, it'll be fine. We got our reroll left. So I'm going to move in kind of a crazy way. Whenever you move out of a space adjacent to an enemy player, you can see these spaces with the numbers in them. These are the enemy player's tackle zones. Whenever you move out of an enemy player's tackle zone, you have a chance to get knocked down. We're going to go ahead and try to dodge out of this guy's tackle zone because I want to do a cool thing where we hit this guy really hard. And we're going to get 2 dice on this. The reason I had to move a goblin here is that if I had thrown this block with our goblin in place and this goblin not in place, we would have gotten 1 assist on the block from our player adjacent to their guy, and they would have gotten 1 assist on the block from their player adjacent to our guy. But you can deny assists by making engaging your players with enemy players. Alright, here we go. Here's our blitz. So first, we got to make this dodge, which we did easily. You can see the dice log down here at the bottom. Okay, we rolled. Both players go down and push. Ordinarily, this is not a great roll, but push is actually all we need here. And we are not going to follow him. We're going to stay in our square. If you knock a player out of bounds, they get jumped by the fans. This injury roll is not that good for us. He's fine. He's down for the count. He's out of the play, but he'll be able to get back in next turn. The fans are pretty good at injuring people, though, and I like to give them the opportunity to participate in the game. You know, it just feels sporting. So, let's see here. I think at this point we should maybe try to pick up the ball. So I'm going to run one of our throwers adjacent to the ball. If we fail the pickup with this guy, he'll bobble it into an adjacent square, and there's a chance he'll drop it into the hands of the other guy. Alright, so every once in a while... Oh, he dropped it. He also dropped it. So when you fail a roll in a way that could potentially end your turn, or just when you'd like a better result, you're allowed to use a reroll. Every team has a limited number of rerolls. I purchased 3 for us. So every half will get 3 chances to reroll a ball that failed in a bad way. That didn't work out. We did a bad job. Part of the reason that didn't work out is because it's raining. The ball's slippery. You can see down here there's a -1 modifier to a lot of ball actions for the pouring rain. We should probably keep an eye on the action. I know there's a lot to explain, but I do want to keep the game moving. I think, Alright, so they're going to move up. They're going to look for opportunities to punch us back. As the Norse team, their strategy, because they're pretty good at fighting, their strategy is going to be to reduce the number of players on our team to such a point that they can easily score touchdowns despite the fact that they don't really have any ball handling skills to speak of. Okay, they got 3 dice there because they were able to provide so many assists. If you get so many assists that you're above twice the strength of the enemy player, you get to roll extra dice. Okay, that's not that bad. Obviously, they've opened up a front. There's no die roll involved in just standing up, but your turn ends immediately if you do fail a different die roll, right? So a lot of the time you want to start your turn by standing your guys up. However, if we stand this guy up, there's a really good chance that he's just going to get pushed off the field and stomped by those rabid fans. So why don't we maybe make that a play to consider in the future? For right now, I'm going to try to get this ball into the hands of Piercer, our blitzer, because the Norse have left us a hole to do a thing here. By the way, I apologize if my sports terminology is real bad. You'll be surprised to know I don't really know that much about sports. All right, grab the ball, run it up here. Nope, 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 nope. Well, that's a bad start, but there's a reason that we did that first, because I didn't want to... oh, God. Our poor goblin's about to get totally crushed. Yep. So you'll notice that the Norse players sometimes will select the both down, everybody goes down face on the dice. Uh-oh, he's throwing bombs. Oh, he bombed our troll. The Norse players will select the both down face on the die, but not go down. That's because almost every player on the Norse team has a skill called block, which makes it so that the both down face of the die just doesn't affect you. This is most of what makes the Norse such an effective team, is that they get to start with both down on almost all their players. Uh-oh. Our line is really getting dismantled. I mean, this is kind of what it is to play against Norse. We've had a little bit of bad luck so far, but they went for the even strength one die block. Got a good result. Uh-oh. The dramatic action camera's a bad sign. Jonathan T. Ratman is stunned. That means he doesn't get to get up next turn. Well, the good news is they haven't made any progress toward the ball. So, if you're wondering why our guy fumbled the ball last turn and I didn't get to re-roll it, it's because he has a re-roll skill. When he tries to pick up the ball, if he fails, he automatically re-rolls it. You're not allowed to use one of your fancy team re-rolls on a check that has already been re-rolled in any way. That's also why we didn't get to re-roll our first attempt to pick up the ball, but instead got to re-roll our guy's failed attempt to catch it after it was fumbled. Well, we really have to get the ball downfield. We do have some guys now that we want to stand up, though. I'm going to stand Spookums. And I want him standing up so that he can lend an assist to the Warpstone Troll and his role to potentially be too stupid to do things. Okay, good. So now we're projecting some tackle zones, right? Anybody we stand up is in danger of just getting punched again. Standing up is a move action. But you can, just like normal, you can do one blitz per turn, and that can be stand up and also punch. And that's what we're going to do over here. I'm going to stand up this goblin. This guy's left himself all alone in unfriendly territory. Stand up and immediately throw a punch with the goblin's assist. I don't think I'm going to use a reroll. I'm going to push this guy this way. And I am going to follow him. Following him up is dangerous, obviously, because I might just get mashed up on my next turn. But I didn't really want our blitzer adjacent to the sidelines because, you know, surfing. Getting sent into the crowd. It's called being crowd surfed. And it's bad. We've already talked about that. Alright, let's try this again. We have a 4+. All of the dice used in Blood Bowl are normal 6-sided dice. So our roll of, we need a 4+, it's a 50% chance to work, and we have a free reroll from our Sure Hand skill. This is pretty likely to work, but not guaranteed. That's kind of the thing of Blood Bowl. Oh, he did it. Alright, so he's used up all his movement. He has a movement allowance skill, or stat, that tells you how many squares he can move safely. He can move up to 2 additional spaces, but he has to make a roll to do so. If you try to like really go for it, you have to roll the die for each of the extra spaces you try to move, and if you roll a 1 on any of those rolls, the player falls down in the space, drops the ball, and your turn ends. I really need to get the ball to Piercer this turn, though. We got to start making progress here. I'm concerned that at any moment we're going to get rushed and we'll lose our opportunity. So the question is, do I throw the ball to Piercer, or do I take the 2 go-for-its and try to hand him the ball? There's a lot of dice rolls involved either way. We have to make a roll to throw it. We don't have to make a roll to hand it off. But in either case, Piercer has to make a roll to successfully receive the ball. And now you're probably, at this point, kind of getting what Blood Bowl is. Blood Bowl is the game where you roll 300 dice. And because you're rolling so many dice, a lot of likely things are going to happen, and also a couple of phenomenally unlikely things are going to happen in each game. And it's part of what makes it really exciting, I think. I'm going to throw him the ball. It's not that much less likely to work. We have the ability to re-roll a pass for free. And if you complete a pass, you get star player points, which are experience points. This is how we gain stuff on our players. I'm going to go for the short pass. It's a pretty good pass. It's a pretty good catch. A star player point is earned. And now this dude needs to get out of here. We're not going for any go-for-its. His safety is paramount. And when I say his safety is paramount, I mean you get over here and take a punch on his behalf. This rather hairy guy that we're blocking, the Ulf Werner, is 4 strength, higher than the average player, but lower agility than the average player, which makes him bad at jumping out of people's tackle zones. I think probably he will choose to punch the goblin, which means that he won't be able to blitz our ball carrier. This is my fervent hope. We'll see how things actually work out. He's just going for it. He should not have done that. That's a hard dodge. Taking the team reroll. Oh, he makes the reroll. This is bad. He has more strength than we do. And he rolled a good face. Well. Ouch. Okay, it's just a stun. That's fine. The ball did fall adjacent to the sideline, which makes me a little bit nervous. Alright, so some of the Norse players have the Frenzy ability, which is what you're seeing here. If they throw a block, and the block doesn't knock their target down, they're allowed to try again. They get to throw a second block. So the Norse are good at fighting. They get to ignore some of the negative results on the die, and a bunch of their players just get to attack twice if they screw up. Oh, got an injury. Goblins get injured easily. No long-term effect. He'll be out for the rest of the game. That's fine. We'll skip it. We have a team doctor. We have an apothecary. I'm going to try to save him for a more dangerous injury. We did bring a spare goblin just in case of this event. Oh, I forgot to move our other thrower. Well, that's just poor play on my part. Listen, I haven't played a lot of Blood Bowl recently. I'm blaming it on that. It's just I'm rusty, you understand? Oh, he's going to throw a bomb. He threw it into an empty square. Listen, it's tough. Stuff is tough. Yeah, you can see he needed a 4+ to throw that bomb the way he wanted to throw it. Or actually, I think it failed to go off. I'm not 100% sure about how the bomb throwing rules work. I don't play with bomb characters very often. As you can imagine, there aren't a whole lot of them, since it is extremely illegal to bring a bag of bombs to the game. Now, unfortunately, our blitzer got stunned, so he doesn't get to get up right away. I'm trying to figure out a path that leads to some kind of victory here. So, this is one of those 4 strength guys. If we blitz up if we get our blitzer up with a blitz on this dude, we'll only get to roll 1 die, because the assist from the goblin will make their strengths equal. That's probably not a good use of our blitz. We could... I'm going to have the Warpstone Troll try to knock this guy down. If that works, and the troll is able to follow up, then we'll have the troll providing an assist on this guy, and we can have our linemen execute a blitz. A blitz is a hit and a move, but it doesn't matter which order they're in. So we can hit this guy, and then run over and protect the ball. I'm also going to move our thrower up right here. It's hard to pick up the ball when opposing players are interfering with you, so just by standing here, we're making this tough. We're making it one die roll point harder for him to pick up. Alright, so we're about to do some things that have a chance of failure. Let's take all of our guaranteed and important actions first. Stand you. We'll stand you. And now that they're standing, they're providing tackle zones, hopefully causing enemies to fail dodges, maybe. I'm also going to stand this guy up. Because the Ulf Warner can't kill both of them. So whoever he goes after, the other one will get to run away safely next turn. You have to be ready to sacrifice players when you're playing a team like this. It's all for the good of the organization. Ah, that's a shame. So both down's pretty bad for us. If you take a both down result as the attacker, it ends your turn. It's a failed die roll. We'll go ahead and follow him up. But now, because this guy's up, he's denying the troll's assist, so we won't get our 2 dice. I'm going to go for it with the 1 die. We still have our... let's declare a blitz. We still have our team reroll, so if we roll something really ugly, we can do that. Alright, so we push him here. We don't follow. And now that he's no longer adjacent to us, we're not in anybody's tackle zones, and we can do something like this. And I'm going to roll a going for it. We're going to go 1 square further than we ought to be able to. I mean, it's pretty likely to work out. Alright. Yeah, the Norse players are going to have a really hard time picking up the ball. Also, almost everything to do with the ball is a roll based on your agility, and so this guy's pretty bad at picking up the ball in the first place. Are there any other things that I want to do? This goblin can't really... he can't throw a punch or anything. Ooh, I'm kind of in a dangerous position. I wasn't really thinking, again, because I'm not used to having bomb-throwing characters in the game. But if this guy throws a bomb over here, I'm pretty sure he could hit all 3 of our guys with it. So maybe let's not contribute another guy to that problem. I think I'm just going to call it here. If they want to injure me, they're going to have to do it on their turn, rather than by me failing a dodge hilariously. Okay, so they're abandoning the ball. He's going to crush the goblin. These things happen. The good news is, you have the silver lining here. That's a goblin, and we don't care about him. Also, now our guy is able to dodge away pretty easily. Oof. Another one of our goblins got his bell rung pretty solidly. He's KO'd. He's unavailable until the end of the match, but every time a new play starts, there will be a die roll, and he might wake up. I'm gonna let that go. We're not gonna use our apothecary to try to save him from that. We only get to use the apothecary once per game. The fact is, I'm not gonna use it on a goblin. Nothing could happen to a goblin that will prompt me to use my apothecary. We gotta save it for the good players, the expensive players. Like this. How bad is this injury? Badly hurt, so he'll be out for the rest of the game. We'll be short a player. I'll go ahead and apothecary that. Okay. No casualty. We did it. So he's out for the rest of the play, but he'll be back in next play. I really don't want us to be shorthanded already. We're in a bad enough situation as it is. It kind of looks like they're not really going after the ball. Yeah, I think their plan is just to stall us out until the end of the half. Oh, right, their plan is to throw bombs at us. Okay, well the good news is it didn't affect one of our guys. The bad news is another KO. How many players do I have on the field right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down from 11? Well, I mean, that's Blood Bowl for you. So how do I want to do this? This goblin needs to stand back up. Every action they have to spend punching the goblin is an action they're not spending doing horrible things to the rest of my team. We could try something gutsy. We could run up here and go for a passing play, or maybe just a handoff even. I'm going to do it. So we have to make 1 dodge away from this guy, but the odds on that are pretty good, and we have a reroll available. Okay. We made that. Our players are fast, too. Well, they're relatively fast. A lot of Norse players only have 6 move, while almost all of our... all of our rat players have 7. So the question is, how do we want to do this? I want to pick up the ball, right? Grab it and run. The bad news is, this space you can see has a -2 in it. It's in 2 opposing players' tackle zones, so our attempt to dodge out of it will take a larger penalty. We need this guy to not be here anymore. I think I'm going to try a 1-die blitz, get up and hit this guy. So before we do that, Let's tie up another one of their players. We're just gonna get punched, but I mean, I think it's good. I think it's worth doing. All right, let's throw this punch. All we need is a push. Okay, I'll take that. Stay put. Okay, we're getting the KOs too. We're both relatively low armor teams, so this kind of has to be expected. All right, I'm gonna use this guy actually. Hold on. How do I? I'm gonna use this guy to set up kind of a screen. I don't need him to actually stand in that guy's tackle zones, but we just need to make it so it's awkward for this guy to move forward. All right, you grab the ball. Please, for the love of Christ, grab the ball. And then we're going to try to hand it off. All right, this is a 4+ pickup. I think we take a 1-point penalty for the rain, so I think we actually have to roll a 5. We're pretty likely to have to use a team reroll on this. Oh, bobbled it. Come on. Come on, I believe in you. Ah, 5, got it. Oh no, it was an actual 4+. That's right. Picking the ball up is an easy task, so it gets a natural +1. And then I'm going to try to hand this off. Because here's the thing. Spookums is a lineman, and he doesn't need the star player points for getting the catch, or for getting the touchdown as much as the blitzer does. The blitzer's a more important member of the team. But also, he already has some star player points because he injured an opposing player. You know what? No, he'll keep it. We'll keep these guys together to guard each other. And we could throw a punch at this guy. There's a risk to doing it. Our player's really stupid. If we give him an order and he has no teammates around to help reinforce the order, there's a 50% chance that he'll just completely fail to understand what's happening. And if that happens, he becomes so stupefied he loses his tackle zones, which means this guy would get to just do whatever he wants. But we've already seen that he can throw his bombs with fair accuracy, even with the tackle zone penalty. I'm pretty torn here. You know what? Let's go for it. Okay, all he got was pushes. That's fine. Just follow him up. Stay on him. Keep that tackle zone on him. Alright, this is the end of our 5th turn. The first half is 8 turns long, so we have a lot of time to score this. And the thing is, we really want to score it as late in the half as possible, because we don't want to give the enemy team time to, oh, he has enough movement. Oh, he has to roll a go for it for the attack. He made it. He just got push. Okay. All he rolled was push and attacker down. Sometimes the dice do not work out in your favor. Oh, here comes the bomb. Oh, it worked. Okay, that's not great. We're stunned. Oh! Tried to dodge out of our tackle zone to go grab the ball. Takes the reroll, and the reroll's not good enough. Look at that. Goblin doing work. I told you. Standing up is important. These tackle zones matter. So, now we have to figure out how, in the next 3 turns, we're going to get a touchdown. For every opposing player who has the ball in one of his tackle zones, there's an additional -1 penalty to the roll. So right now, picking up the roll would actually be a 5+, like I thought it was going to be the first time. We got to fix this. But we don't actually have enough players left on the field to make anything really happen here. Alright, pretty much our only hope is going to be punching one of these guys off, or you could get a thrower over here with his pickup skill. That would be cool. It's tough, though. I don't think we really have a lot of ways of getting assistance up here. We might have to do this as like a 2-turn plan. So why don't I... The Ulfwerner is the only player on the Norse team that doesn't naturally have block. I'm sorry, their big terrifying Yeti man also does not. Yeah, this guy doesn't have block. And our Blitzer actually does. So we have kind of an advantage in a one-on-one punching contest here, which is what we're able to get because we have an assist, but he has 1 point naturally higher strength than we do. I say let's go for this. If it works, then the blitzer takes the rest of his points of movement to just get adjacent to the ball to make it hard for them to pick up. And then we try to figure out a way to get the pickup going next turn. Ah, bummer. Alright, I'm going to push him over to here, and I am not going to follow. Because if I followed, obviously I'd be in people's tackle zones. So I'm going to move over here so I'm adjacent to the ball, but not adjacent to any enemy players, so that it's harder to punch me. I don't really like this guy being adjacent to that guy. We need to figure out my plan here. Well, hold on. This guy still has movement left. Let's actually move him to this side. Because I'm going to try to bring this guy down and have him go here. The dodge is a 3+, so we're pretty likely to make it. We still have our team reroll. Let's try to make it really hard for the Norse to get away with the ball. Oh. That's a failed dodge. Alright, here's the last of our team rerolls for the half. Okay, he made it. Do I want to try to pick the ball up? If I pick the ball up, he's just going to get punched. Right, we don't have another team reroll, so if I go for this, I also could fumble it like out to here, which is a worse space for us. Because it would only then be adjacent to one guy. Yeah, I think I'm good. Let's have the troll try to throw another block. There we go. We got it down. Follow him up. Let him know he's not going anywhere. And then I think I'm going to have my thrower try to dodge away from this guy. I guess if I dodge away from him, that makes it more likely he's going to get to do a thing. This is a tough one. Yeah, if we throw the block against him, it's actually pretty likely not to work out for us. Basically, there are 2 faces on the die that knock him down, 2 faces on the die that knock us down, and then 2 that just push him. That's a little bit worse odds than I would like, but I guess something pretty miraculous has to happen here. If I run the thrower out to try to make him, try to create some kind of way to move the ball out next turn, it just means that this guy is free to run over and throw a punch. You know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the 1-die block. Punished for my hubris. Skulls are always bad. The announcer helpfully explaining the basic rules of the game, now 40% of the way into the game. Yep, they're setting up assists. Alright, Bomb Man has to get up. I don't think he can throw on the same turn. Okay. So they've dropped our Goblin so that they can now move guys around the field a little bit more freely, but they spent their Blitz to do it, meaning they can't hit either of these guys. This is actually not that bad for us. You definitely stand. Hold on, though. What's my move here? You stand. Let's do that before anything else. I don't want him to not be projecting tackle zones on these guys. This guy standing is just going to get him punched, but like somebody has to keep these guys from just rushing the ball. Good luck, you take it. I believe in you. And now this. So we could... I think we just stand this guy. I don't think he's going to try to do anything fancy. And then I'm going to throw a block. Let's blitz this guy. Oh, right. I was thinking that we'd be getting an assist, so it'd be a 1-die block, but our assist is being denied by that guy's presence. Which actually makes this a very difficult situation, doesn't it? Well, we can throw... There's a lot of ways for me to get a 1-die block, but not really a lot of ways for me to get a 1-die block and then also potentially be able to get the ball. And because we no longer have any team rerolls, I'd really like to try to pick the ball up this turn, so if something goes wrong, we still have another turn to score. Let's do this. Let's try to blitz this guy off. We'll take our 1-die block here. Okay. Push is fine. Follow him up so he has a tackle zone on him. And now this guy's not in any tackle zones. Unfortunately, the odds of this going right are, like, spectacularly low. Let's try throwing a little punch over here. 2-die block is a little bit more likely to work out. Nope. Too stupid. Too stupid to fight goblins. Can you imagine such a thing? A troll that is too stupid to fight goblins. Alright. 5+ pickup attempt, and then you know what we need to do is dodge out of his tackle zone. Wow. One horrible die roll at a time. Okay, a bobble. Where's it going? Alright, that's not a bad position for me. It's certainly hard for them to get to it. Okay, so he spent his blitz so that he could hit my goblin and then... Huh. Yeah, okay, so the AI is pretty bad at the game, it seems like. Just kind of arbitrarily spend their blitz. The blitz is a very valuable resource. Punching, also. Punching is a good resource. Oh, here it comes. If he throws a bomb right here... Okay. It failed to do anything meaningful. That's nice. And we're getting pretty lucky here. But, of course, he's got Frenzy. Okay, he did a pretty bad job on both of his blocks. Unfortunately, he's still adjacent to the ball. Well, we can pretty easily generate a 1-die block here. And all we need to roll is a push to knock this guy away from the ball. So 5 of the 6 faces of the die work pretty well here, because 3 of them knock him down and 2 of them move him away. As long as we don't roll the skull. But once I do that, what is my plan? I think my plan has to be, this guy blitzes. And the idea is, we hit this guy, then move back so that we're projecting tackle zone on this one. Our other blitzer hits this one with the 1-die block. And if all that works out, we may be able to get it so the ball is in no tackle zones, and Spookums can pick it up and sprint for the end zone. I think this is the best version of our turn. It is a phenomenally... It's not great. It's not phenomenally bad. I'm saying that too much. But it's not great. Okay. Push to here. Don't follow. That guy is now irrelevant to the play. Then we move to here to provide the assist. This guy takes... Oh, that assist isn't being denied. Okay. Hey, you. Wake up. Okay, he woke up. So now he's denying this guy's assist. They still have an 8th turn left. I went first. So we should probably stand this guy up so that he's blocking tackle zones. This guy's far enough away that I don't think he's part of the play no matter what happens. So I'm not going to stand you up. You can take a rest. That guy's no longer your problem. All right, here we go. Oh. Well, listen, a 1 in 6 chance of something happening isn't actually even that low, right? Well, that's the end of our hopes for a touchdown this half. That's going to make the game very difficult. Now we have to score on their reception. The good news is, they definitely aren't going to score this half. Man, they just always want to use their blitz with this guy. Okay, his armor holds. Alright, the other good news is, this is the last turn that they have the guy who throws the bombs, because he's going to get ejected from the game in a second here. But he is going to throw one more bomb before that happens. He did not do a good job. Alright, well, as far as first halves go, that was pretty bad. The good news is, I think we still get to field a full team. The bad news is, they're now going to bring their Yeti onto the field. Ooh, their KO didn't wake up. It's good for us. Oh, if our KO doesn't wake up, we also don't get to field the team. Oh, knocked out one. Okay, the Goblin woke up. So, I think we field... I think it might be 10 to their 10. Yeah, Boomer, get out of there. You're not allowed to blow up the other players. Okay, so we're on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Cool. That's fine with me. No, I didn't. I missed a guy. But we have a. The point is, we have a lead. All right. This glowing area you're seeing on the field is the Yeti. He has an ability called Disturbing Presence, which makes it hard to pass, intercept, or catch the ball within that area around him. I don't think it's going to be a big problem. Now, this time out, we have to think about the fact that they get to go first. They're going to get to throw first punches, so we should line ourselves up in such a way that none of our important characters are near the Yeti. The other thing to note here is that we are setting up first. This is not their final setup. Under normal circumstances, I would expect the computer to put the biggest guy sort of just in the middle of the field to do fights. So I'm going to set up like this. We have to put 3 players on the line. It's the rules of the game. And it's going to be a Skaven lineman and... No, it's going to be 2 goblins. We're not subjecting any of our Skaven to the possibility of getting Yeti clawed. We are then going to try to set up along the sides here in such a way that it's difficult for the Norse players to generate a run along the side. Remember, it's difficult to just run through a space that's adjacent to a player. So we want to create a web of tackle zones that sort of spans the whole field. Under normal circumstances, I might do something like this. Try to like line up guys so that our tackle zone network is 2 spaces deep, so that if one guy gets blitzed, it doesn't open up a big hole. But it's dangerous to put guys 2 spaces away from the sideline against Norse, because if one of their frenzy players blitzes you, he can frenzy push you into the space adjacent to the edge and then hit you again and knock you out. So bad players on the edges, and this is a desperate situation. Alright, let's see what their final setup is like. Okay, they did put the Yeti in the middle. Alright, we get to kick the ball. As you can see, the ball will scatter 6 spaces in one of the 8, I don't know what you call these, cardinal and semi-cardinal directions. So I'm just going to kick it to the square center of the field. That way it's unlikely to go all the way out. If the ball goes out of bounds on the kickoff, they get to just hand it to one of their players. Oh no. Trash talking between 2 players degenerates and explodes into a riot involving all the players. The clock runs down a bit, both teams lose a turn. That's actually really bad for us. This is a game that might end 0-0 at the end of regulation time, and if that happens, I don't actually know what we do. I don't know if we're allowed to have ties, or if there will be an overtime, or what happens. Alright, so they're just setting up. You only get to move and throw a punch once. So you're trying to set up for throwing punches in the future before you decide where your blitz is going. Oh, it's still raining. Still kind of hard to deal with the ball. Okay. They spent a reroll and failed. They only have 1 more team reroll already, so that's pretty good. Let's have the troll throw a punch first. Well, the thing about the troll is that he's, big dumb players like this are not particularly good at accepting team rerolls. When you try to use a team reroll on a troll, or something like a troll, there's a chance they just won't take it. And so he could roll skull, right, or both down and skull, some kind of bad roll, and then we're unable to re-roll it, and he just loses us the turn. So actually, maybe let's do some things that are more likely to work out first. Who has star player points? Spookums does. Spookums is going to throw a quick punch here, see if we can't generate a knockdown and maybe a little bit of positional advantage. Let's push this guy this way, away from the play. And follow him up so when he stands up he can't just run free. Okay. And doing that has freed these 2 guys to move up into more effective positions. We're also going to pressure the ball carrier a little bit. So I'm going to run like this. Let's just make it clear to this guy that he has to solve this problem of the ball being in his backfield quickly. I'm also maybe going to run the goblin up here just to make it hard for this guy to blitz off our attacker. He has to roll a go for it or make a dodge. Either way, it's 2+. Let's do this. Okay. So how are we going to resolve this situation? He's really put a lot of heavy hitters around our guys. All right, the first thing I'm going to do... We want to threaten the ball. I'm going to make one more going for it. Please make your roll. Okay. So we have to make a go for it. If you throw a block against a player who's in one of your extra squares, you have to make the go for it roll as though you're moving into the square. But we can generate a 2-die block here, where even a push will knock the guy away from the ball. All we need is... yeah, push is fine. Absolutely follow up. Okay, obviously this is a bad situation for them. And now we get to spend the rest of the turn just punching people. Alright, let's move you up to here. We're going to provide some assists against this guy. 2 assists, so that even a goblin can get an advantage. Actually, never mind. He still won't be able to. Because he's getting assisted on by that guy. Yeah, there's no version of this where the goblin gets to throw a 2-die block, sadly. I thought we could maybe get there. Alright, let's try this. Let's try throwing this block. Alright. Let's just try to sort of herd them away from the play. Alright, we gotta keep this goblin in place because he's punch fodder for those guys. I'm gonna move one of our linemen up here. So now we're denying the assist, and we're providing an assist. We could throw a 1-die block with our goblin. If we did, 2 of the phases knock the enemy player down, 2 of the phases result in our knockdown, and then there's the pushes, which are pretty much neutral. I don't think that it's worth potentially losing this guy's tackle zones at this point in the game. And it's certainly not something I'd be willing to spend a reroll on if it went awry. We only have 3 of those for the entire half. For the entire rest of the game, probably. We gotta, make this count. Okay. So, goblins have dodge. The dodge skill makes one of the punch faces just behave like a push. So, goblins are actually kind of hard to knock down. Alright. Yeti has frenzy and is incredibly strong. But he's just not really good at catching a goblin. And the Yeti doesn't have block. So he can't take advantage of the both down face the way that the other players can. Oh, our goblin is getting absolutely crushed. Is he gonna be okay? He's stunned. He's fine. He's fine. They'll shake it off. The ringing will stop in a couple of hours and he'll be alright. Okay, I mean, this is looking pretty good for us. Ooh. He went for the 1-die block against our goblin and made it. That's a cocky play. Alright, so they're pushing our guys around pretty effectively, but that's really all they're doing. And actually, by doing that and then following up, he freed up our thrower. We might be able to score here. Goblin, is there... Actually, there's not really a reason to stand him up, is there? Because we can already get a 2-die block. Alright, let's see if we can free up this blitzer to potentially grab the ball. That's what I was looking for. Okay. So actually, at this point, we might want to stand the goblin up just for the sake of maybe catching the ball in case we drop it. I'm also going to move our thrower up here for the same reason. Actually, I guess this is where I want him to be. Again, just I'm a little sensitive to potentially getting frenzy surfed right off the field. Okay. You have a lot of friends nearby. You can do this. At least drop it sideways. I don't get to see what direction the ball will fall in before making the reroll. I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take the reroll. Come on, get it. Get it. Yes. Alright. We're going to run right up to the edge of their end zone. We'd have to make a roll to go any further, so we're going to stop right here this turn. We also actually kind of maybe don't want to score. Because the moment we score the ball, they're going to get it, right? And then they'll get to start their next touchdown drive. What we want to do is wait until the last possible moment. They're going to have to put some pressure on us to force us in. The bad news is the result of this is going to be that we spend a lot longer getting punched. Alright, let's get him up so that he can help the troll. We can throw a couple of 2-die blocks. Yeah, let's hit this guy. Uh-oh. We used our team reroll already. You can only use one per turn. So that's a both down. Their player has block, and he won't be knocked down by it. That's just our troll getting himself hit in the head. Maybe the worst possible outcome there. You know, of like any of the moves we could have done. Our troll getting knocked down was real bad, because he was covering a lot of guys. Okay, the good news is, they seem to be more focused on punching our players than on forcing us to hit the touchdown. The bad news is, they seem to be pretty focused on punching our players. And this is a thing where, like, the persistent development part of the game has, like, an interesting effect, right? Because one of our players getting... Oh, he's freaking out. One of our players getting injured has effects beyond the end of this game. It's not great for me to just let them gang up and stomp the crap out of my guys for too long. We have to be a little careful about this. What you saw here, their Yeti, his wild animal ability triggered. Every one of the huge 5-strength players has some kind of drawback. Our player is really stupid. Their player sometimes just freaks the hell out and, you know, wants to fight. If you tell him to do anything other than fight, he might rebel on you. So that was good news for us. That guy's effectively not playing Blood Bowl right now. Alright, let's throw some punches. Try to clear out... Push this guy to here, where he is still extremely outnumbered. And we just pushed him into punching range of another player. That's why it's really important to, like, figure out the correct sequencing for your moves so that you can do stuff like this. Alright, I like it. How bad is it? Is it a real injury? Ah. You don't get star player points for stunning people. You have to actually send them home. Goblin... Your job is to go wake up the troll. And I mean, a lot of our goblins are just gonna stand up and do their best to soak up some punishment. Here's a question. Do I want to stand up and blitz this guy? This is the guy who just totally embarrassed my troll. But I think the answer is yes. Let's try to do some violence. But I want to throw this block first, because it's a little bit more likely to come out in our favor. Because, right, the troll might just decide he doesn't want to do the block. Alright. Push you up here. I'm going to follow. Which puts us in fighting range of another Norse player, but again, we're just trying to pin people down right now. This goblin's going to run through and just try to paint some tackle zones up here and make things difficult for pursuers. Our Idig is not moving this turn. He's definitely not going to try to score. Alright, make that really stupid roll. Alright, good man. I'm not going to use a team reroll on this. We might actually need it later. That's why we save actions like that to the end of the turn, where it will matter less if they fail. Alright, the Yeti's big and he's scary, but they're not playing him very aggressively. Okay, they're starting to put a little forward pressure on the ball. It's going to take them at least another turn, or actually, from this distance, probably 2 turns, before they'll be able to threaten to actually put down our ball carrier. Oh, wow! That guy is dead. Well... It's a shame we don't still have an apothecary. But listen, not to sound heartless or anything, but he's a goblin, you know, these things happen. That's technically that's sort of his job on the team, is to get to take kills so that other people don't have to. Alright, what do we want to do now? They are Starting to present a little bit of a unified front. I think I want to stand up the troll and not have him throw a blitz, but we shouldn't start there, right? We should start by moving a player adjacent to him so that that can happen. I could just use my blitz here. I was kind of hoping to have one of the blitzers throw the blitz, you know, not have a pretty good chance of knocking somebody down. But maybe their job should just be to fall back and baffle pursuit. Yeah. Let's have Jonathan T. Ratman teach this Sculf the Howler some manners. Actually, I don't know why I followed up, because I'm just going to have him move up to here. Alright. You can do it, Blanatic. We believe in you. Alright, he managed to stand all the way up under his own power. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked. Alright, let's run over here and provide an assist for our other guy. You stay right where you are and just prevent that guy from moving forward. Alright. That's what I was looking for. Okay. I'm not really sure what to do here. I'm not sure what the best play is as far as making these guys safe but still making it difficult for the enemy to get to our guy. I'm going to move the goblin up here. Berserkers are pretty agile, and they have an ability called Jump Up, which allows them to stand up and then still move at full speed the same turn. And I don't want any kind of shenanigans where this guy gets up and then runs between our defenders and rolls both his go-for-its and just barely manages to get things going. So we're gonna just swarm this dude with tackle zones. He is not going anywhere. Alright, there's the jump up. What's he gonna do about it? Oh, nothing. Okay, that was it. They just stood him up. Well, I gotta be honest with you guys, this is starting to look really good. Alright, they are successfully throwing punches at our troll. And the troll is down. Yeah, at this point, that probably doesn't matter that much. We just need to hold out for a couple more turns. Oh, wow, they're not even going to pressure our... okay. I think what's happened here is they've decided they can't score a touchdown, even if they pressure us to take our touchdown right now. So they're just going to try to farm some experience off of our players by killing them all the way dead. That's crummy for me. We have two ways of preventing this from working. Number one, we can just score the ball and then spend the rest of the game fleeing from them. But I'm a little concerned that if I give them 2 turns, they might be able to find a touchdown. I know they won't be able to score with 1 turn. So my other plan the plan I'm actually going to go for is let's just knock as many of them down as possible so that we don't have to worry about it. Okay, that is a failed punch. We both have block, so the both down ability just does the both down roll just does nothing. But we can weather this guy's 1 assist by providing 2 assists of our own, and let's take another punch at this guy. Alright, our players are not finding the stuff I need them to find. We'll have him stay put, so he's still locking this guy down. Where else can we throw a productive block? Wow, not really anywhere. I'm going to have this goblin try to dodge out, because goblins are agile, and they're good at that. And run over here so he can provide an assist. Oop! Well, that's not great. So we didn't get a team reroll on that because his natural dodginess allowed him to reroll the dodge for free, and he rolled 1s both times. Okay, their Yeti failed to take the move order and then failed to take the team reroll. So pretty bad news for them. We are in some... Boy, we would be in some real trouble if the game wasn't over, because we have very few players standing right now. Fortunately, they just don't have the move to get over here. Oof, how bad. A serious concussion, loses 1 point in armor value. Sorry, rookie. you are fired. I am not playing a goblin with a serious stat decreasing injury. That said, we may have to keep him on the roster for a while just because I don't know that we're going to be able to afford all of the replacement players we're going to need to hire after the things that have happened to our team here. That's alright. When you're playing Underworld, you take some hits, some bad stuff happens to you in the beginning, but then your players start getting levels and things get great. And we'll talk about why exactly things get so great in a second here when we finish the game and get to see the XP system in action. So, what is the movement range of these guys? Okay, we do have to score this turn. We can't make ourselves safe anymore. Well, we're not going to take any other actions. We're not going to do anything that could potentially fail. We are, however, going to do a little bit of bad manners and zone dancing. Oh, they don't let you do that in this one. In the first game, it didn't count the touchdown until you had finished your planned move. So, you're able to just run around in the end zone for a little bit of BM. Okay, we have 2 serious injuries. Also, one of our goblins was murdered on the field. Everybody seems to be fine with it. The troll woke up, though. What am I feeling, like 7 players? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. This is bad for us. So, we're going to set ourselves up in what is colloquially known as the Cowards formation. We are required by the game rules to put 3 people in the center part of the field on the line of scrimmage. We will do that. Do I have 3 goblins who I can sacrifice here? No, it's 2 goblins and the lineman who doesn't have any star player points. And everybody else goes back here where they cannot possibly be punched. Good luck, boys. We salute you. And I'm just going to kick it to the middle. Doesn't really matter here. Oh, the Tipsy Giants get an extra team reroll because they are inspired by their fans cheering. These things happen. It's a bad result for us, but it does not matter even a tiny little bit because there's only one turn. There's 13 squares to a half, so they don't have any players that are capable of moving even nearly as far as they would need to. But if we had let them have 2 turns, it wouldn't be impossible, because remember, every player can move 2 squares more than his movement allowance suggests with a little bit of luck. Oh, they're going to flub their pickup. That's good. Spending that free reroll. Okay, they managed to maintain. I was kind of hoping the turn was going to end right there so that they wouldn't get to throw a punch. No such luck. Alright, the good news is he's not dead. Well, this is going to hurt. Fall small, Johnny. Tuck and roll, man. How bad is it? It is a fractured leg. He's out for a game. Well, the bad news is we may see these guys again in the future, and we've handed them quite a lot of advancement. The good news is nothing. I was going to say the good news is maybe we can throw a spite block at the end of the game, but actually they completely removed all of our players who are within fighting range. So I'm just going to hit end turn, and that's the end of that. Well, in one sense, we got there. We totally won that game. In another, still very important sense, my team is completely devastated, and we may have lost the next game via our performance in this one. And again, this is part of what's cool about Blood Bowl. If you, at the end of the game, you roll a die and you get an amount of money based on the result of your roll. If you won the game, you are allowed to re-roll that thing once. We rolled a 1. Yeah, okay, there we go. Alright, so a 5 means we got 70k in winnings. 80k is totally enough to buy a new player. And our fan factor has increased. This is a thing that really almost doesn't matter at all. Alright, so let's see the star player points. Every game, a random player is named MVP, a random player on each team. That player gets 5 star player points. For us, it was the Blunder Blunatic. That's actually kind of great because it's really hard to get star player points on big guys. You're like totally reliant on just getting a couple of lucky rolls in a row so they cause an injury. And then we got 2 points on that guy, 3 points. Okay, so we accumulated some points. Unfortunately, you need 6 for the first level, so nobody on our team leveled up. One of their guys did. Well, that's bad news. So next week, we're playing against some elves? Okay. The good news is, elves are not really that good at punching. The bad news is, there's a pretty good chance that those guys are just going to run a passing, sprinting, doing fancy backflips around us type of game and score 50 points. In our shattered state, there's a real good chance we're going to lose that one. So let's have a look at the state of the team before we close out the video here. What is the state of our team for next game? We... Rookie's out due to his injury. Serious concussion. Jonathan T. Ratman is out due to his injury. So we're fielding 9 players. Well, we can hire a new guy. For this much money, we could afford... You can see our positions are pretty limited. We could afford to just release Jonathan Ratman for the purpose of having 2 Skaven linemen on our team next game. He didn't get any advancement, right? Yeah, he doesn't have any star player points. But I think I'm going to hold on to him just because we're kind of in a rough spot cash-wise. And I'm going to hire, with our 80k, I think we can hire 2 new goblins. Yeah. Alright, so... You're getting released. Guy who lost stats? Sorry. Okay, let's get 2 new goblins in here. What's a good goblin name? Bogfur? I don't think Bogfur is a very good name. I name my goblins aspirationally. Someday, if he tries very hard, and maybe gets a lucky MVP award, he might be able to play like a guy who deserves the name Scrub. Oh, and I just bought a goblin without naming him. Remove last item. I think it's terrible bad luck not to name your players personally. Although, maybe all the effort that I put into it didn't have much of an effect. What's another good name for a goblin? There you go. Listen, they know what the deal is. Okay. Unfortunately, that only puts us on 11 real players, but it means that we don't have to take a loner player handed out by the league. Those guys are the pits. Alright, we'll be fielding 11 players next game. We're short a Skaven, so unfortunately we're going to be pretty thick on goblins, and that is a terrible place to be against any team. But particularly a team that's as fast and adept as ball handling as an elf team. So that is going to be it for us for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys are looking forward to the outcome of the Blunderworld Bludgeoners' story. I'm pretty excited about it. Come back tomorrow to see if we can manage to at least maybe farm some star player points off these elves. The thing about elves is that they break very easily. You just sort of grab both ends and pull. So look forward to that. And we'll see you then. Thanks, Bob.